Hey, I'm Andrew Hales. Welcome to another edition of Chatting With. I'm here with Claudia.
Hi, Andrew.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Claudia Ackley.
Yes, Claudia Ackley.
You 100% believe in Sasquatch.
100%, 110%.
When was the first sighting?
Actually, it was in 1996. I went with two roommates of mine, and we went to Yosemite National Park. We were young kids at the time and very irresponsible, didn't know about nature. And we hiked a huge mountain called Upper Falls in Yosemite. And what happened was most people that hiked that mountain, it was about 6 hours of hiking with our gear and stuff. We noticed that people would come all the way up to Upper Falls. There's a lower falls and Upper Falls. They would take pictures and they would go back down. We were the only dummies that were out and popped a tent. You know, we just decided, let's just hang out here for 3 days and just enjoy nature.
You weren't supposed to do that?
No, we could, but
Okay.
most people just left back down the mountain.
Okay.
We were kind of solo at the time, you know,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
a lot of campers out there.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was before we went there, we had to get a fire permit to start a fire. So they taught us about bears. They said there's a lot of bears out there that you have to be careful with, bears. So that was on our minds, you know. So that night they gave us a canister to throw over trees to hide away from the bears. But one of my roommates was a bit irresponsible at the time, and he had a box of granola bars. And before we went to bed, I said, do you want to hide the granola bars? He's like, nah, we'll be all right. It's all right.
No, yeah.
So basically, in the middle of the night, we heard this growl that literally it sent shivers down our spine. So I was in the middle, my two roommates were on the side, and we both sit up, and I said, oh my God, there's a bear here. And then I pointed at the granola bars, there's, it's smelling food. So as he's grabbing the granola bars, I grab a flashlight. My other roommate's still laying there with his eyes wide open, but scared, So what happened was he started unzipping the tent very slowly, and I got a flashlight. And what happened was, he threw the box of granola bars as far as he could. He was a strong guy. And basically, within a minute, I grabbed a flashlight and started from the bottom, started to look just to see if I could see the bear. And I saw something huge, bipedal, walking. Bipedal means walking on 2 feet. And then we both looked at each other and we're like, what was that? What was that? And he's like, a bear, I guess. I don't know, And that night we couldn't sleep, of course. The minute the sun went up, we started packing our tent. We looked around for the box of granola bars, never found it. So for years, that was always on my mind. What was that thing that was walking in the wood line? It was a split second.
How old were you?
I was, 21 maybe. I was young.
Okay.
Those days.
Yeah.
So we basically packed that day and left and kind of ruined our trip because we were that was pretty scary, But for years, I wasn't confident. I had no confidence at that time. And years go by, I get married. I'm not a single mom at the point, but I was married, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And we were talking to some friends, and they said, what is your most scariest moment? And I brought that situation up, and she said to me, well, maybe it was a Bigfoot. And I'm like, what? What? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not a sci-fi type girl. Never was a sci-fi type girl. So she said, research it, So I started getting on YouTube and putting in the word Bigfoot, and I started seeing all these information about Sasquatch. So I started getting involved and just researching it and noticing that thousands of people have had sightings, and there's a lot of videos of them. There's a lot of hoaxers, of course. There's a lot of people that don't tell the truth. So I became friends with a woman named Barbara Shoop. And she has a YouTube channel that she just started, and it's called Barb and Gaby. So she actually invited me to go up to her area where she lives, and apparently she's got them all over her property. So at that time, I didn't have a Facebook account, and I just was talking to her through YouTube, and I decided to go up there. I took her on the invitation that she was so gracious to invite me out there. So we were out there for 7 days, 7 nights, and everything you can experience as far as Sasquatch activity, we were able to experience. Rocks were thrown at us, and huge screams and growls. And
This is before the footage with your daughters?
Right, this is before. So this is actually not September of 2014. Now we're fast forwarding. So she has a YouTube channel, and she's got a stick. And when she turns on her YouTube channel, she never says okay, I'm going to turn on the camera now. She wants us to be as natural as possible for her channel.
Yeah.
So we were walking on a trail one day. There were 7 of us walking. And she said, she was showing us, I want to show you this tree that's been twisted, with hands. I want to show you. So we walked, towards the left off the trail. And she started talking about this tree that's been, broken in 3 pieces. And at that point, I felt like something was watching us. I had that feeling. You see me look on camera. You see me, and then he was about a 5-foot Sasquatch juvenile. And as soon as we did eye contact, his expression to me was almost like, this is how I tell people this is his expression. If you ever like walk into somebody who's getting dressed and you're like, oh, like you're kind of like, you.
Yeah.
It was like that. He looked scared, you know. And at that moment, I'm looking at him, going like, what is this Washington creature that I'm looking at? Yeah. And she's still talking. And at that point, he was holding with one arm on a tree, and he jumps off a tree, and I could see his nails as he's going down the tree. He had black, long fingernails. And I was looking at him, and it happened like a couple seconds. He takes 2 steps and then gets on all fours and runs away from us. And at that point, she sees him running away from us. She says, like, did you guys just see that? So at that point, the shock factor, to me, that question was answered. Do they exist? Do they not exist? Well, I just saw one 75 feet from me, 5 feet. He was about 5 feet.
Wait, you say he got on all fours, though?
They do walk, we call it quadrupedal on all fours when they run fast sometimes, or they walk bipedal on two legs. So I was
like primates.
Yeah, like primates. Right. So at that moment, I mean, the structures I saw there, the rocks that were being thrown at us, I knew in my heart, okay, they do exist. I've seen it for myself. Now, when I went with Barbara, I didn't want her to say, like, show me old prints, like their footprints. I wanted to find things on my own, I wanted questions answered for myself. I wanted to find things on my own without somebody showing them to me, because you don't know if somebody's like kind of put them there, you know.
Yeah.
So we were in the wilderness in Washington State. So at that point, I wasn't very happy with my marriage. I was married 20 years. I was in a very toxic relationship, had 2 kids. And I had to make a final decision of like, there's so much of this life that we don't even know, that I feel that I need to, I want to change my life in so many positive ways, you know, and I want to learn about the species because I've seen it and I know it's real. So,
wait, you said there's footage from that encounter?
Yes, there is.
Of the whole Bigfoot?
The juvenile Bigfoot, yeah.
I don't think I saw that video.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Pieces that are supporting it at either end.
Yeah, that had to been, you know, like a thrust and not a hang, you know what I'm saying?
Something hard and fast.
For any amount of time,
the heck was that? Did you see that?
Sam's been checking it out. You know, like a thrust and not a hang, you know what I'm saying?
Something hard and fast.
For any amount of time,
the heck was that? Did you see that?
Yeah, we'll just include that, yeah.
And it's interesting because on her camera, I mean, she didn't have the greatest camera. They struggle financially, and
it was like a camera. It was like a phone or something.
Yeah, she was using an iPod, I believe. It was, you know, and she just started her channel, so she's, you know, and on the video it looks translucent, but you could see his huge eyes. You could see something jump from the tree and run away. And at that moment, still, I was thinking, because when I think of Bigfoot, I think of like 1,000-pound creature, 10 feet tall, hairy, big. This guy was little. He was not intimidating at all. You know, it was a great experience, and but I was able to see his huge eyes and his chimpanzee-looking body. You know, and I knew, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like,
totally not a bear.
Not a bear at all. Like, he had huge, like he looked like human in the face, but a chimpanzee body.
Okay.
So.
And then fast forward to the third encounter.
With
your daughters.
With my daughters, and that was pretty life-changing.
I swear to God. Mom?
I see it. Is it by the tree?
Yeah.
So the subject,
I swear to God,
in question is between the V here, the head. Here's the video, the still shot from the video, and here's the comparison photos sent by Claudia.
That was very intimidating, and it changed my life.
What year was that?
That was March 27, 2017.
And then after that, with that footage, you wanted to sue the state or something like that?
She called the authorities, but says no one believed her.
She goes, I'm sorry you saw a bear. And I said, no, this was no bear. Like, I know what I saw.
Now she's filed a lawsuit suing the California Department of Fish and Wildlife for refusing to acknowledge the existence of Bigfoot.
Well, what happened was, if I could just tell a quick story. No, we decided to move to Crestline in the mountains, and you know, I used to tell myself, like, where do I start looking here? There's like so many thousands of acres, and basically my better half, Ed Brown, and I, for some reason, when I would GPS to get my daughters, they go to school in Rancho Cucamonga. I have to drive. I didn't know where, we just moved. I didn't know where to turn to get on the road to pick up my daughters when we first moved. So I would GPS Rancho Cucamonga, and for some reason, it would take me to the end of this trail, like 5 times. And I was thinking, like, it's like the end of this beginning of a trail. Like, maybe I should just start looking here. You know, it's by our house. Like, it's convenient. So when my daughters went with their dad for their visit, I asked my better half, like, hey, let's go on a date night. Let's check out this trail. So we decided to go, and it was great. We had a great time. We went Facebook Live, and we did notice there's 3 trees that are blocking the trail all within 100 feet, which I thought was unusual, but there's like homes around, you know, and I thought, nah, this doesn't look squatchy. We call it squatchy. It doesn't look like there's any signs of primate behavior or anything. Okay. So we had a great time. A couple days later, my daughters were home, and I don't want them on social media all the time. I want to be like the best healthy mom. I want them to enjoy what life has given us, and so I decided to take them on that trail. So they were excited. At that point, I work with hospice patients. I'm in the medical profession, and like I had my hospice shoes on. When I usually go like in the woods, I carry my boots, and I'm really prepared. At this point, I took my bear spray, my cell phone, and we started hiking on that trail. And my youngest daughter, who was 11 at the time, was in the front, and then my 14-year-old was in the middle, and I was in the back. And I was explaining to them, there's mountain lions, like you have to watch out for mountain lions. They get you from behind, and sometimes they jump off trees. And when you see a bear, like you don't run from a bear. And they were like rolling their eyes, going, "Oh my God, Mom! Like let's just go on a walk," you know. And basically, I also gave my 14-year-old daughter my car keys, and I said, if something happens, God forbid, to me, like this, here's the keys. Like I wanted their safety first, you know. I just felt I needed to tell them that, and I told them, no matter whatever happens, never show fear ever. Fake until you make it. Never show an animal fear. So they were like, okay, Mom, you know. And what happened was I showed them the first tree that's been blocking the trail. It's still alive. And a lot of people, when they have Sasquatch sightings and they get on a trail, they notice there's a lot of trees that are blocking the trail, almost like they don't want humans to. I mean, this is what we suspect, you know. And we showed them the first tree, and then the second tree. At that point, I took a picture of my daughters, and you see my youngest daughter walking. My dog I had a puppy at the time. She was just frozen. Didn't even notice it at the time. And my daughter's posing for the picture I just took. And then all of a sudden, we turn the corner, and I'm seeing my youngest daughter, like flipping her hair, walking around, singing, skipping, and then she looks left to right, and then she's frozen after she passes the third tree, completely frozen. So at that point, as a mom, I'm thinking, I hope she's not seeing something. Please don't let her be seeing something. At that point, my 14-year-old, she like catches up to my daughter now, and at that point, she's frozen, looking straight. And I'm thinking, okay, this is where my mom instincts come in, and I have bear spray, I have my cell phone. So what I did is I ran as fast as I could in front of them. And as I was running behind my daughters to get in front of them, I saw my youngest daughter turn around, and she had the most horrifying look on her face that I've never seen in like 11 years. She just was like, you know, just this. And I knew at that point there's something in front of them. I'm assuming it's a bear for some reason. So I'm thinking, okay, I got to prepare. I got to get ready to protect my kids. I run about 20 feet in front of my daughters, and I see this enormous creature. It looked like a Neanderthal man, and he was just sitting there looking at us. And I'm thinking, this is not happening. This is really not happening. And for some reason, I was in like a shock type of moment, and I start walking up to him, like just in like a daze, just started walking. I'm like, this is just a tree. This is just a shadow. This is not really happening. And then all of a sudden, I could see him turn his head, and in my head, like something said, don't get any closer. So I stop in my tracks. So at this point, I'm asking, my daughter's starting to freak out. Like she's starting to say like, Mom, I swear to God, and she doesn't like ever say I swear to God. She goes to Bible study and stuff. And my little one's saying, I want to go home now. It's time for us to leave. We have to go, Mom. We have to go. And at that point, I'm looking at him. And then in the medical profession, we are trained that you want to always have a controlled environment. So if a patient starts getting out of control, family members start getting out of control, you have to be stern with like your environment. You got to keep your environment under control. I remember turning around and just saying, stop. You need to take a deep breath. Stop. Do not panic. Do not panic. It's going to be okay. And I turn around and look at him like, and at that point, I look at my daughter's behind me, and I say, I'm asking them, do you see a head? Do you see shoulders? Do you see? I'm basically asking, are you seeing what I'm seeing in front of us right now?
Confirming your
reality. Confirming it. So at that point, I could see him looking he's looking at the three of us at this point. I could see him actually turning his head, looking huge, massive eyes. And I'm thinking, so then...
How tall is he?
Well, he was about 30 feet up on a tree. He probably weighed an estimate about 800 pounds. And I didn't know I didn't know how tall he was because he was 30 feet perched on a tree. But we were on a hill, so like we were basically face to face. At that point, I didn't know there was a hill. I thought he was standing by a tree. And at that point, I remember just they have language. We believe that Sasquatch species have language. There's a man named Ron Moorhead who there's a man named Scott Nelson their government. One's a government official who worked for the government, and he analyzes language. And people have heard whoops. They when there's humans around. Sometimes you'll hear a wood knock, and that's basically when you get a piece of wood and you hit another, like a tree, that tells others there's humans around. We believe that's their warning sign that there's humans around. So when I looked at him, I whooped at him, because I know they do that. Since I've been researching it. And then when I whooped at him, the reason why I did it is because I wanted to tell it, I know you're kind, and don't look at my kids, look at me, is basically what I was trying to tell him. We don't know what it means.
Like the
WHOOP.
Yeah, like Bigfoot says that.
Yeah.
Like whoop.
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 You hear that in wood knocks. You do it very well.
Whoop. So you did that.
I did that.
And then it whooped back?
No, it just at that point, it just stared me down did she just say what I thought she just said? And which was a bad thing to do because I don't know what it means. It could say, come eat me, or here's food. I have no idea what it means.
Or let's fight, yeah.
So, but I wanted his eyes to get off my kids and just focus on me because I'm going to die for my kids if I have to. I'm not going to win against them, but I'm going to do whatever I can to protect my children. So about a month goes by at that point, and I decided, something has to be done. These things are real. And there's a man named Dave Politis who's a retired police officer. He's got a book called Missing 411. And there are thousands of people that disappear and mysteriously in the woods, Yosemite, all over the United States. And what he's done is he's researched all these. It's very suspicious. It's not like if somebody was suicidal or homicidal or depressed that they investigate. These are children that are missing 2 or 3 years old, that they were right behind their parents, and they found this child dead up on this mountain within 3 hours. No way possible a child can climb a mountain. There are certain circumstances that are very interesting. A lot of missing people that disappear very quickly from groups of people. Yeah. So they've never been found. The book is called Missing 411.
Well, and there's the documentary.
It's an unknown what happened to these people. It extends far beyond just kids.
Hundreds of people vanished from our national parks and forests under very unusual but very similar circumstances.
It's weird. It's as if there's mountain lions. People could say, well, that's a mountain lion, but they find clothes that have been taken off the body and folded. But it's very, very suspicious. Folded. Just if you take off clothes, no bites on the clothes. It's been stacked very nicely. Just very interesting things.
Okay, so now you're in a case against the state of California?
Right. So basically I called first of all, you don't know who to call. Who do you call? Sasquatch hotline? Because there's none. So I think, do I call the Fish Service, Fish and Game, Wildlife, Forest Service, Sheriff's? You don't even know who to call. So I just decided to call the Sheriff's Department. And it's hard. That phone call is hard because people think you're crazy. So I basically said, look, my name is Claudia Ackley. I had a Sasquatch encounter, and I said, I want to report this. And then it's silent on the phone. Well, we don't get a lot of phone calls like this, and we're not even sure who to direct you to, but what's your phone number? We'll call you back as soon as I find out who is the right person you need to talk to. And I said, okay, fair enough. At that point, within 3 minutes, the phone rings, and it's a Fish and Game. And she said, so you had a Sasquatch encounter? I said, yes, I did. And I said, my daughters were witnesses. I said, we found a 22-inch footprint, which is huge. A 13-inch footprint. We have 2 videos of it. And I said, I want to report this. It's important, you know. So she said, okay, what's your address? I'm on my way. I said, okay, fair enough. 5 minutes, she was at my house. Very professional. Let's call her Debbie. She, you know, I shook her hand. I said, look, I'm in the medical profession. I'm not crazy. I'll do a drug test, a psych evaluation, whatever you need me to do. I am telling you the truth of what we saw. I said, this is not a bear, you know, and I said, this is something that we saw close up, and I want to report this. So basically, she said, I want you to know I'm not alone here. My supervisor's on the other end, and I'm going to be texting him what you're telling me. And you have video of it? I sure do. She said, okay. So she said, let me see the video. I showed it to her like 7 or 8 times. Let me enlarge the picture. Is that his eyes? Is that his ears? Is that his... Yes, that's him. So she said, okay. So she starts messaging her supervisor. At that point, we're all waiting for him to respond. He responds. And she looks at her cell phone. She takes a sigh, and she says, you saw a bear. And I said, no, I did not see a bear. I know what I saw. I know what bears look like. This was not a bear. And she kept trying to convince me. I'm not going to say everything we said, but I said, look, like, I'm in the medical profession. This is really important. I said, these things are huge. They're dangerous. They can be. And I said, what are you going to do about it? And she said, well, and she kept trying to convince me, you saw it. And I said, no, I did not see a bear. I'm a very strong-willed person. I don't care what people think of me. I want to help people. This is a big deal, you know. And I said, I'm not in it for myself. You look like a nut, for one, because, you know, Bigfoot, like, you know.
Yeah.
Second of all, financially, this is very expensive. This lawsuit that I'm doing, it's not anything. I'm not a materialistic person. I'm very content with my life.
Yeah.
I do well. Like, I don't have to. This is something that I want to do to help people.
So you're seeking money from the state?
No, I don't want money from the state.
Okay.
So what I want them to do is they're derelict of their duty, which means when somebody calls, which many people do call, but you don't hear the stories, they come and say, you saw a bear. Don't even talk about it. There's no Bigfoot. Basically, I want them to do an investigation. When people call and say, look, I saw a Sasquatch, or they're on my property, I'm scared. I want them to do an investigation, help that person out, figure something out. Second of all, I don't have a body, and you need a body to prove to the government that these things are true, they exist. Yeah. I don't have it, but I have plenty of DNA that comes back, unknown primate, unknown species. So if somebody has hair and it's DNA, like, well, I'm going to do whatever I can to get the evidence I need to prove it in a court of law. Just saying, look, these things there's plenty of eyewitnesses.
They're keeping it a secret?
I don't think they just don't want to acknowledge the fact that we're not alone in these woods. You know,
Well,
there's, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, but the logging industry, there's millions of dollars. There's also public safety, like the fishing, the camping, like, and I believe that if the government can't control something, then what they're not going to do is they're not going to acknowledge it. And I don't believe that they can control these creatures that are in the woods. My honest opinion. It's just my opinion. They're very, very stealthy. They're ninjas in the woods. How does the logging industry, what stake do they have? Well, I mean, if they come up with, like, proving the existence of they do exist, well, then they're going to have, like, rights, you know, like, we can't log, we can't. So that's money that's involved.
Well, we have rights for bears and everything else.
Well, yeah, but it's different. I believe it's different. These are more humanish looking creatures. I believe, in my opinion, they're more animalistic as far as physical. They can run fast. People, I've seen them crawl on their bellies. Like, they jump off trees. They're fast runners. But I believe they also have intelligence. They have language. People have seen them, like hunters that, like, have a scope on them. They've seen them talking to each other, you know, and using signals and hand signs. And I mean, these are just stories that I get 30, 40 messages a day on Messenger. It's kind of slowed down now, but people saying, look, I have them on my property. I've seen them. There's clans of them. They have children. There's women, you know.
What area do they usually live
all over
in?
the United. I have messages from all over the United States. I have dogs. I don't know if I sent you the pictures of dogs impaled 30 feet up on a tree. Deers that I've impaled on a tree. I have pictures of deers. Their necks have been twisted but not eaten. I have hogs that are on trees. I have mooses that are wrapped around a tree. It's just, I can go on and on. Those
could very well just be humans doing that.
Well, possibly, but I mean, I don't know many people that are going to impale a dog 30 feet up on a tree, especially like. There's a lot of sick people, I'm sure, in the world, but.
Okay, so you win the case, then the state needs to acknowledge people claiming Sasquatch.
Well, do their job. Their mission statement is to protect game, protect the public.
And you have a lawyer? How's it work? Like what?
Well, first of all, lawyers don't want to touch me because they're thinking they're gonna their practice is gonna be hurt because we don't want to This is crazy. This is and I had an attorney named Bobby Garcia, and basically I work with a man named Todd Standing who has a documentary. It's called Discovering Bigfoot, and it's on Netflix. Mm-hmm. Basically, what happened was he offered his services to me, and he flew down and stayed with me for a week because he also has a Canadian lawsuit against the government to try to change things for the species. I want species protection. Okay. And I'm not saying, I want to say something to clarify. I don't believe they're all bad. We had no aggression on our encounter. There was at least 3 of them that were around. Nothing bad happened, no screams, they didn't show its teeth. But there are some people that have had horrific sightings that have PTSD, that go to drugs, do alcohol, because they don't know who to go to. They don't even know who to talk to because they get ridiculed. Like, you saw Bigfoot? Come on, it's just.
So you're suing the state, but you're not getting any money?
I don't want any money from it. No, any money that comes out of this, like say somebody wants to donate money, I'm gonna start a national PTSD group throughout the United States. What I'm doing is I'm picking one person from each state. They're responsible for picking people in their cities to have people come and express what they've seen, because a lot of people are very traumatized from what they've seen or what they've experienced. Not all of us have great encounters. There's horrific stories. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you mentioned you have DNA. Where you found the hair from prints?
It's hair, and I can't really disclose it until the case is. I can't.
So you're in the process of the case now.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop with my court case. I wanted to tell you, basically, this attorney called Todd Standing in Canada. He's a Canadian, and he said, "Look, I'll take her case." But when Todd and I were here together, we wrote. It's called the Writ of Mandate, and basically, it's my complaint to the courts of why I'm doing this. And this is just like, okay, let's say I saw you walking with your buddies on that trail that day, and I was walking with my daughters that day. And I know that you're in danger walking with these things in the woods. They're huge. What am I going to say to you? Hey, Andrew, don't go in there. There's Bigfoot. What would you think of me?
You'd think you're crazy.
Okay. So I want that to change, because the truth is they were out there. And how am I going to warn people? Hey, don't go out there. There's huge animals out there. Well, what kind of big animal is out there? I'm not going to lie.
Well, is it that much of a problem? How many people are disappearing?
A lot of people have disappeared.
Like, do we have an exact number?
Well, that's one thing that Dave Paulides tried to do. We use the Freedom of Information Act, and they will not disclose. They said we don't have a list of the disappearing people. So the national parks don't have a list of the people who have gone missing? Are you kidding me? So basically, they said, we'll give you a list, but you need to give us like $2 million, and we'll give you a list.
They said that?
They said that to Dave Paulides. He's someone you might want to interview, but and he's not going to say, we don't know what's taking these people. We can't say it was Bigfoot, or we don't know. Yeah. But there's these circumstances. There's clusters of people in the United States that people become missing. And it's If you start researching, like if you go on YouTube, if you get on podcasts, you'll start hearing people's experiences, and they're all over. They're like all over the world, basically.
Well, it just doesn't add up. Scientists would have found it by now with all the technology we have. Like, we've had bears and everything.
Well, the scientific community, they're very educated people. There are some scientists, by the way, that are involved in this, and I actually have primatologists that will testify on my behalf. We have fingerprint experts that will come. There's a man who actually, there was a fingerprint on a car, because people have said that they, like when they live on a property, that they see them looking through the windows like at night. And somebody was able to get fingerprints, and this man who is not, he's scientific, said they don't exist. Like, do mermaids exist? And basically said, just give us a chance, look at these prints. The dermal ridges were not human. And he was convinced these Sasquatches are real because of their prints, and also their facial prints too. They sometimes put their face on the glass.
When's the case going to wrap up? Do you
know? Oh, it's going to take a long time. But right now we're looking for better attorneys to represent me. And
how are you funding the attorneys?
By people that are aware that these creatures exist, and they're
Donations?
Like Bobby Garcia is doing it pro bono.
Okay.
So looking for pro bono. I'm a single mom. I have I struggle like, everybody else, But I believe that this creature, I believe that my sighting was to help people, and that's what I want to do, and I don't care what people think, because in my head, when people laugh at me or they say she's crazy, it doesn't matter, because I saw this physical creature in front of us with my kids. And it's like, and I've seen 2, possibly 3, so it's like, to me, it's my mission. I believe we all have a mission, and I want to do things to at least educate the public. But you know what I was telling people? It doesn't matter what footage you have, because if you have the best footage of a Sasquatch, you're considered a liar, a hoaxer, or crazy. You made that up. So basically, what we need is physical evidence, basically a body, DNA, and
Why can't we get one?
We don't know. They're very ninja in the woods. They're very, very... If you go out there, this is actually what I would thought. When I was looking at the massive creature, this massive animal, if I was thinking, if I had a gun and shot it, there's others that are around you that will. I mean, they take care of their own family clan. I feel
that sounds silly.
How? Tell me. I mean, if you have a Ruger or a rifle, yeah, but do you think that if you start
so they're
shooting,
all hiding? They're
never
elusive.
alone. Usually, they're never alone when there's a Sasquatch encounter. If you do your research and start like looking at it, they usually are in like groups. It's not just one alone. There are some that are called rogues. And they're considered bad. Like they're not considered to be a part of any clan. If you saw like one you're face to face with one.
I'd get out my phone.
Okay, you're gonna be in front of an 800-pound. I mean, they're massive, massive creatures.
I'd still get out my phone.
You're gonna point something at
I'd make sure at least that I'm gonna get the footage dying.
See, I not when you have 2 kids. Say you have 2 kids, you gotta protect. You're gonna piss off something. It's like running into an African elephant in the woods. Like, are you gonna go up to it and say, "Hold on a second, I need to take a picture of you"? My first reaction wasn't, "I need footage because I'm gonna have a lawsuit." Mine was, "Oh my God, I cannot believe what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
How am I going to protect my kids?" You don't think like, "Oh gosh, I'm going to videotape this so I can like show people that they really are." You don't think that way.
Well, it sounds like you want them to exist.
Oh, I know they exist. I don't want them to exist. I know they exist. So do you think that thousands of people are all delusional and liars and hoaxers?
Well, I mean, urban legends and folklore it makes for a good story. It's fun to talk about.
Say you had kids and you saw something like that, and you know about the missing people, the missing children, the missing women. Would you want to do something to try to change? If you called someone for help, like say, God forbid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I really did see, a Sasquatch that would be really hard to explain to people. And especially if I didn't have good footage, I would just figure no one would believe me. It's hard, yeah.
I don't have the best footage, but in my heart, I speak genuine. I speak my heart.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it to help others. And if I don't win this case, maybe I'm doing something in the right direction. So maybe 5, 10, 15, 100 years, they're going to say, she tried this avenue, let's try this avenue. Because there are more sightings, more and more and more. And I don't have 30 people messaging me a day on Messenger asking, like, thanking me, like, or what can we do to help you? Look, I found hair, I found like a tooth, like I found this. Like, I mean, people are coming together. We're tired of not knowing what this thing is. Like, what is this? Why can't we find a body? What do you think about my story? Your honest opinion?
Well, I wasn't there, so but I believe you're sincere about it, and you're passionate about it. But
do you see the creature on the tree?
It's weird. It just looks like a shadow. I don't know. I don't see. It's not good enough for me, that footage anyway.
If I showed you like more people that have analyzed the footage of it scratching its face and its eyes, would that convince you?
Maybe, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's just the evidence isn't concrete enough. It's like do you believe 9/11 was staged?
No.
Yeah, see, like there's like a ton of people that
I know.
Yeah.
Conspiracy. We live in a flat Earth. Do we live in a flat Earth? I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you watch that?
No, I was going to.
Yeah. But let us know what you think in the comments. Any experiences yourselves, where you live, and what sightings you've had. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Please check out Claudia's YouTube channel. Link in the description. And I will see you next week.